Hello animal lovers and welcome to our channel, where we share heartwarming stories of animals who have overcome adversity and found their happily ever after. Today, we have a particularly special story to share with you. It's the beautiful story of a bear cub which walked into a family's garden and unexpectedly hugged their dog. Are you ready to hear Max and Teddy's tale? Let's get started. In a small forest village, there was a family who lived in a cozy little house nestled among the trees. They had a beautiful garden that they tended to with great care, planting all sorts of vegetables and flowers. The garden was surrounded by a tall fence to keep out any wild animals that might wander through the forest. One day, as the family was going about their daily business, a small bear cub suddenly appeared in the garden. The cub was small and fluffy, with big brown eyes that sparkled in the sunlight. At first, the family was terrified at the sight of the wild animal, but as they looked closer, they realized that the cub was not dangerous. It was simply curious and wanted to explore the garden. The family's dog, a big Labrador retriever named Max, saw the cub and immediately began to bark loudly, trying to alert the owners to the danger. The cub, however, was not frightened by Max's barking. Instead, it slowly walked over to him, and with a cute little grin, wrapped its arms around the dog and gave him a big hug. Max looked surprised and a bit confused by the cub's behavior. He had never been hugged by a wild animal before, but he soon realized that the cub meant him no harm. Max wagged his tail and licked the cub's face, happy to make a new friend. The family watched in amazement as the cub and Max played together in the garden. They had never seen anything like it before. They couldn't believe that a wild animal would be so friendly and playful, and they quickly took out their cameras and began to take pictures and videos of the unlikely pair. As the day went on, the cub and Max continued to play together, chasing each other around the garden and rolling around in the grass. The family could not help but smile at the sight of their two new friends having so much fun together, and they immediately knew that this was a moment they would never forget. As the sun began to set, the cub eventually got tired and wandered off into the forest. Max watched it go, wagging his tail in goodbye. The family was sad to see the cub go, but they knew that it had to return to its own family. They would always remember the day that a wild bear cub walked into their garden and hugged their dog. After the bear cub's first visit to the family's garden, Max would wait by the fence, wagging his tail excitedly every time he heard a rustle in the bushes. It was like Max was convinced that the cub would come back to play with him again. To the family's surprise, the bear cub did come back. Over the next few weeks, the cub would make occasional appearances in the garden, always eager to play with Max. The family watched in amazement as the two animals ran around together, chasing each other and rolling in the grass. They couldn't believe that a wild bear could be so friendly and playful. The family quickly grew attached to the cub, and they decided to name him Teddy. They began to leave out food and water for him, and they even built a little shelter for him in the garden. They loved having Teddy around and enjoyed watching him play with Max. As the weeks passed, Teddy grew bigger and stronger. But he never lost his playful nature and his love for Max. The family could see that the bond between the cub and the dog was growing stronger every day. They realized that they had been blessed with a very special friendship. One day, Teddy didn't come to the garden as usual. The family was worried, and Max was moping around the house, missing his friend. They feared the worst, thinking that something happened to Teddy, as the wild is a dangerous and unpredictable place. However, the next day he returned, happily jumping out of the bushes, still the same playful and loving cub they had come to know and love. The family knew that it was only a matter of time before Teddy would have to go back to the wild, to live with his own kind. As the days passed, Teddy's visits became less and less frequent, until he finally stopped coming altogether. The family and Max missed him terribly, but they knew that he was out in the wild, living the life he was meant to live. They would always remember the time they spent with him, and the special friendship he shared with Max. Even years later, the family would always remember the bear cub that walked into their garden, hugged their dog and became his friend. They knew that their memories of Teddy and Max would always be with them, and will continue to bring them joy. They were grateful for that special and unique experience, for having a wild animal visiting them and creating such a lovely bond with their dog. We hope you enjoyed hearing Teddy and Max's story as much as we enjoyed telling it. If you love this heartwarming tale and want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have plenty more stories of animals who have overcome adversity and found their happily ever after, and we can't wait to share them with you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. See you in the next one.